Picture, if you will, a golden child, eternal in youth, yet ancient in wisdom. His name, Miquella, a being of boundless kindness and impossible ambition. He was to be the great redeemer of a world drowning in its own ruin, but kindness, like power, is a dangerous thing. Miquella was born with a curse, a body untouched by age, a fate bound in stagnation. His twin sister Malenia bore her own affliction, a scarlet rot that devoured her from within. Together, they were outcasts among demigods. Miquella made a promise to his sister to break the chains that bound them both, to weave new order from the frayed threads of the old. A promise that was built on devotion and blood. They called him the most fearsome of all the Empyreans, not for the sword that he carried, but for the love that he inspired. Love, after all, is the most dangerous weapon. It binds, it compels, it twists the will of men and gods alike. And Miquella, he wielded it with surgeon's precision. Miquella was also an adherent of Golden Order fundamentalism and developed new incantations as gifts to his father Radagon. However, Miquella abandoned the fundamentalism when it failed to treat Malenia's rot. He then began creating unalloyed gold, which he used to craft needles that would ward away the mending of the outer gods and forestall Malenia's incurable rot. These needles would even be used to subdue the power of the frenzied flame. He also, unsuccessfully, sought a solution for his half-brother Godwin's state of incomplete death. Eventually, as Miquella pursued godhood, he knew that he would have to take on a consort, to which his eyes fell upon his half-brother General Radahn. He approached Radahn with this offer, to which the general vowed that he would become as such, in return for unspecified terms on Miquella and Malenia's behalf. Malenia journeyed with her armies to fight Radahn, an attempt to kill him which would have allowed Miquella to resurrect him as promised. The resulting battle ended with Malenia unleashing her Scarlet Aeonia. However, Radahn survived the attack, albeit barely standing, and his mind riddled by the scarlet rot. He became little more than a hollowing beast, aimlessly wandering the battlefield. While Malenia was at war, Miquella embedded himself into the Halictree to progress his ascension, but was kidnapped during his slumber. Another one of Miquella's half-brothers was to blame, Mohg, who was patroned by the outer god known as the Formless Mother. Mohg's goal was to raise Miquella to full godhood himself through blood offerings, and then take on the role of Miquella's consort instead of Radahn, becoming the new monarch of the Mohgwyn dynasty. However, at some point after his abduction, Miquella had covertly placed Mohg under enchantment. He used the omen to gain access to the realm of shadow, and then used his body as a vessel to resurrect Radahn. As Miquella traveled through the realm of shadow, he abandoned parts of himself, including his flesh, his eye, his doubt, his love, and even his fears. Miquella also discarded his other half, Saint Trina. Eventually, a tarnished champion made their way to the realm of shadow, where they found Miquella and a resurrected Radahn awaiting their final battle.